Imagine zipping through city streets, dodging traffic, parking hassles, all in something that feels like a tiny car, but legally.
Yeah.
It's an e-bike.
Yeah, like the Hopper.
Exactly. Are these mini car-like bikes the real future for our, increasingly crowded cities? We're diving into it today.
We are, and we've gathered quite a bit from academic papers on quadricycle design, actual driving experiences of the Hopper, plus a look at global e-bike rules.
Okay.
So the mission today is really to unpack what these things are, why they seem to be catching on, and what it all means for how you might get around town soon.
Right, let's start there. E-quadricycles. Sounds a bit technical. What exactly are we talking about?
Well, basically think lightweight, four-wheeled, usually 4, sometimes 3 vehicles made for short city trips.
Okay.
The whole point is to be compact, easy to handle in traffic, and importantly, eco-friendly. Cut down that carbon footprint for things like last-mile deliveries or just getting yourself around.
So electric motors mainly.
Yeah, primarily electric motors. They're not quite like, say, velomobiles, which often rely more heavily on actually pedaling, even if they're enclosed. These new things have more robust electric systems, sometimes car-like control.
Gotcha. And that brings us to the Hopper you mentioned. The sources call it a hybrid of an e-bike and a car, even more license-free car than e-bike. What's the deal with that one?
Ah, the Hopper. Yeah, from Hopper Mobility. It's a really interesting case. It actually has Ich bin ein Fahrrad. I am a bike on the windshield.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it looks, well, pretty car-like. It's got 3 wheels, actually, not 4, but a semi-enclosed body. Shows how these categories are blurring.
3 wheels, okay. How big is it?
Surprisingly small. Just over 2 meters long, about 1 meter wide, maybe 1.5 meters high. Smaller than some of those big cargo bikes you see around.
Wow.
And the controls are where it gets really different. It has a steering wheel.
A steering wheel?
Yep, a steering wheel, not handlebars. And foot pedals, but for cycling input, not like car accelerator and brake pedals. Oh, and it has reverse gear, too. You just backpedal.
A steering wheel and cycling pedals.
Yeah.
That sounds like it would take some getting used to.
Yeah.
So how does it actually, drive? What's the performance like?
It's definitely unique. It's got a 250-watt motor in the back hub, which sounds standard e-bike, right?
Yeah.
But it peaks at 1,350 watts and has, get this, 112 newton meters of torque.
Whoa. That's quite a lot for something bike size.
It really is, more than some small petrol cars, actually. So it should feel pretty responsive, especially pulling away in city traffic. It assists your pedaling up to 25 kilometers per hour.
And the battery range.
It uses a 1.44 kilowatt hour lithium iron phosphate battery, good for maybe 30 to 60 kilometers per charge.
Okay, decent for city trips.
Yeah, and you can get an optional solar panel on the roof to top it up a bit. Plus, it uses this electronic pedal-by-wire system, which kind of simplifies the mechanics inside.
Clever. So if I'm listening, thinking about my commute, how does this actually stack up against, say, my current e-bike or maybe even my small car? What are the real practical pluses?
Good question. Compared to electric cargo bikes, these quadricycles offer way better stability, obviously, and more safety.
Right. The enclosed cabin helps there.
Exactly. And that cabin, often with optional doors, means all weather protection. That's huge. Makes it a year-round thing, not just fair weather.
Sure.
They usually have a better range than many standard e-bikes, too. So for businesses doing city deliveries, that weather protection and range is really appealing. Basically, they sit in this interesting middle ground, cheaper to run and park than a car, but more capable than a basic e-bike.
That weather protection alone sounds pretty good. But there have to be some downsides, right? Any quirks or challenges mentioned in the driving reports?
Oh, for sure. There's definitely a learning curve. That steering wheel instead of handlebars, plus it pivots on the rear wheel. Takes some adjustment.
Okay.
Sources actually give specific warnings, like don't take sharp turns over 12 kilometers per hour or pivot too fast because there's a rollover risk.
Okay, so not something you just hop in and floor it.
Not immediately, no. And some test drivers did mention the motor was a bit noisy. And the ride could be bumpy over small stuff like cobblestones or potholes.
Yeah.
So maybe not luxury car smooth.
Right. Trade-offs.
Yeah.
Now, this whole thing about it blurring lines, legally, how does that work? How are they classified? Because that must impact how easily they can be used.
Yeah, this is super important and actually quite strategic. The rules for e-bikes and these kinds of quadricycles, they're all over the place globally.
Right.
Different countries have different definitions, which affects if you need a license, insurance, registration, and crucially, where you can drive them bike lanes, roads.
So how does the Hopper fit in?
Well, in Germany, strategically, it's classed as an e-bike.
Ah, okay.
And that's huge. It's not just finding a loophole, it's designing the vehicle to fit that lighter regulation. It avoids all the hurdles car manufacturers face. And it
You
means
can use bike lanes.
exactly, which in a jammed up city is a massive advantage. It's quite clever, really, how they've approached the market integration through regulation.
That is smart. Really thinking about how to get it onto the streets easily. So if these mini cars are a potential solution, what's next? What does the future look like?
It looks pretty promising, actually. We'll likely see better batteries, maybe solid-state ones, better solar integration to push that range further.
Makes sense.
We might see AI helping with navigation or driver assist features, and maybe things like active suspension to smooth out that ride quality we talked about.
Ah, just the bumpiness.
Right. And then there's the policy side. Cities might start creating dedicated lanes or more charging spots specifically for these kinds of vehicles.
So it really leads to the big question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As our cities keep growing and cars struggle, could these car-like e-bikes, even with their quirks and presumably a price tag, be that sustainable mobility solution we've been looking for? Something for you, the listener, to think about.
Definitely food for thought. And you can explore more fascinating topics like this right here on Le Podcast de Philippe.
And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, please do help us get to 1,000 subscribers. Your support really helps us keep bringing you these kinds of discussions.